Hey, what's up? This is Cory Wong. I'm here with Fender, introducing the Cory Wong Signature Stratocaster. Since I was a teenager, I was playing a Highway 1 Strat. I bought it used at a store in Minneapolis, and I just fell in love with the feel and sound of the guitar. I knew it wasn't the most expensive guitar out there, but it just felt right in my hands. I loved the neck shape, I loved the finish on the body, and it's been my main guitar since I was a teenager. So I wanted to try to come up with something that resembled that, but also was a little more up to date or up to par with the specs that I like now, and a little more, for lack of better terms, pro in some of the things, a little more modern in some of the shape, and also as I've developed some of my own sound, getting a guitar that really draws that out of me immediately. No matter what guitar you play, you're gonna sound like yourself. But with guitars being very different from one to the other, there are certain instruments that are just going to draw your voice out of you more than others. And I knew that these specs were going to draw my voice out and the way that I like to play in a way that would just get it immediately. The guitar body is a little bit smaller than some other Stratocasters. This is an alder body, classic Strat body. I didn't really need to get cute with it. It just felt like Leo kind of nailed it, and I'm changing the body shape a little bit. Let's keep the wood the same. And the wood just feels and sounds awesome. And what inspired that was really the weight of it. I wanted a little bit lighter, but I also wanted the feel of it to just feel a little more like it sits in my body a little more naturally. My shoulder doesn't have to be up quite as high. It sits a little bit lower. It's such a small difference, but it's one of those things that after hours and hours of playing and being on tour day after day, night after night, year after year, these sort of things are just gonna help make the playing experience a little more comfortable, but also there's a little thing that it does to the attack of the guitar, to me, the way that the transient cuts. And it's so hard to actually put, I mean, I guess we could put it on it. We could analyze it however we wanted, but there's something about the feel of this smaller body that to me draws out a different thing of the transient attack. So I am a fourth position player. That's home base for me. Neck and middle pickup. And sometimes when I'm playing, I'm strumming along like this and I have kind of a wide sweep to my technique. And sometimes I'll bump the pickup selector. So we've got a fourth position panic button where at any time, if I accidentally hit this, I can just hit the switch and it locks it into fourth position, which is awesome. And I love it because also then I can have the pickup selector out of the way. It can literally be down here and I have the switch up and it's in the neck and middle and it's got the sound that I want. And also it can get just a little bit more of an immediate, I can hold a chord, hit the push knob, and it'll change tones in the middle of that, which is pretty cool. Another thing that I love about my Highway 1 Strat is the feel of the tuners and the bridge and the frets. But what I wanted to do was step up the quality level a little bit. And I like the locking tuners because it's a lot easier to change out the strings. I personally feel like they hold tune really well, and I like the way that they hold the tune. Same with this bridge, same with these frets. The fret size is nice to me because it allows me to play really fast, but also have a lot of control and be able to press, like kind of shake the notes a little bit, even beyond just pulling the strings up and down, kind of pushing them in. This size fret gives me just a little bit of that ability. And the compound radius is nice because as I'm going up the neck, playing up and down, it keeps the intonation and the feel, to me, a little bit better. Like I feel like this radius, I play more in tune with this radius. I don't know why, and I'm sure somebody else could tell you the science behind it. We tried different necks, we tried different radii, would that be the word? And this is the one that we landed on. This to me just feels really comfortable as I go up the neck. It kind of flattens out a little bit. And honestly, I've had a lot of people play the guitar, and after I told them it was a compound radius, they said, oh, I didn't really even realize that, which to me is a good thing because the compound radius for me is just a small feel difference, but also an intonation thing. And playing up and down the neck as much as I do, of course, I want things to be in tune everywhere. So this kind of helped solve that. Some of the other modern features that go along with this guitar and the way that it feels, the contoured heel and some of the curvature around the higher part of the neck, the higher part of the fretboard, which to me gives me a little easier access to the higher frets. So when I'm going up and down this way, my hand doesn't get stuck on the block. It just really easily, it's effortless to go up there. And it makes it a little easier for me to play up on the higher frets. It makes it a little bit lighter also still, again, because there's just a tiny bit less wood and it's just contoured and shaped a little bit. And of course, what you're also gonna see when I turn the guitar around is, first off, it has 4 springs. Now, most Stratocasters are gonna come with 3, which is awesome, but what ends up happening is you have the bridge floating just a little bit. For me, I like the bridge right against the guitar. I like it pinned against the guitar. And it makes it kind of one step closer to a hardtail Strat, right? And then the next step that I take to make it even more like a hardtail is I have this elastic band that I put around the springs. And there are directions, and the secret sauce of my tone secret that are in the directions in the case when you buy the guitar. But loosely, the explanation is the way that I do this and the type of elastic band, which this elastic band, of course, comes in the case. We even picked this out. We tried several different elastic bands and several different colors, and I thought, this one does it the best. Sometimes we get a little neurotic with that, but honestly, to me, it just felt like the right one. And it felt like the right one because when you play a Strat just in the room without an amp, you really hear the springs vibrating and reverberating a little bit, which of course contributes to the sound of the Stratocaster. That's, in a lot of cases, what makes certain Strat sounds and tones what they are. Also, when it's plugged in, you hear a little bit of that because it's part of the way that the guitar responds and vibrates, and all the resonance is interconnected. But for me, when I'm playing, especially the really rhythmic stuff, when I stop, I want it to cut off. So I try to be really precise with the attack and the release of things, and putting this elastic band around the springs, to me, helps with that sound. And again, like I said, there's an explanation in the case where I talk about it, and I give you directions on exactly how I do it. And this exact elastic band is in the case. So how about that? Another contributing factor to my tone is I try to contrast bright with dark, which of course is kind of a weird and just conceptual thing to think about. But of course I want a lot of snap in my tone. But oftentimes when I play on guitars with a maple fretboard, it feels like there's just a little too much bite, a little too much top end that I end up trying to tame elsewhere in the chain, whether it be an EQ or on the amp. But with the rosewood, it just feels like it kind of tames that right from my fingers. And I feel it in my playing. And to me, it helps round out the top end of my tone. And of course, as far as the color and the finish on the instrument, I wanted to pay homage to my original Highway 1 Strat, which had a sapphire blue transparent satin lacquer finish. Now, that's a lot of words. Basically, what that means is the color is sapphire blue and it's transparent. What that means is you can still kind of see the wood grain underneath it. And the satin lacquer finish is really cool because it kind of has this half gloss finish to it, which to me just looks really awesome. And I love it. Kind of has this silky, inviting feel to it. I love, and it's great. And it's going to get beat up after years of playing it. And that's what's awesome. It'll be like my other instrument. So I'm really excited about the fact that this guitar now is gonna live with me and get beat up by me on the road, and it might wear down in a similar way as my other one did, and that's what really also helps bring the character to life. Everybody who plays this instrument is going to have a different type of wear and tear on it, and I think it's awesome. That's part of the story of every guitar, and I'm excited to start living that story out now.